Chapter 1 The Prehistoric Land Wind becomes a disciple of Nuwa. You are listening at novelfull.audio. 33 days of pure chaos. Inside the Grand Palace, a young man sat in lotus position, surrounded by swirling energy. A faint echo of Taoist chanting filled the air, and as Lu Feng exhaled deeply, he ended his daily practice. Ugh, that he opened his eyes and sighed. After 30,000 years of grinding, he was still stuck at the same level. Lu Feng wasn't originally from this ancient world. He died of an illness in his past life. He woke up in this primordial chaos, a green lotus seed bobbing in the void. For countless years, Lu Feng was just a helpless seed. If he hadn't hitched a ride on Hongliang, he would have been obliterated by the chaotic energies. Talk about a rough start, Lu Feng thought. I'm supposed to be a badass time traveler. He was at the bottom of the food chain. One stray blast of energy, and poof. He'd be gone, and where was his cheat code, his special power? Zilch. In these ancient times, your origin story mattered. Lu Feng was just a manufactured lotus seed. Compared to those born with incredible destinies, his potential was far lower. His background impacted how quickly he could level up. Lu Feng drifted in chaos for 100,000 years and couldn't even transform into a human, so, he just kept his head down, cultivating carefully. But good things eventually happen to those who wait. After all those shaky years, he was discovered by Nuwa, who was exploring the chaos. Nuwa took a shine to Lu Feng and adopted him as her sole disciple, but compared to a saint's first disciple, Lu Feng was underperforming. He was still only in the early stages of being a true immortal. Nuwa, concerned about his lack of progress, provided him with a bunch of innate spiritual treasures to help him develop. But Lu Feng's strength remained stagnant since Nuwa created humans and became a saint. He was stuck in the early stages of being a true immortal. The thought alone made Lu Feng want to cry, but what could he do? He didn't choose this life. All he could do was keep grinding and try not to embarrass his master. At least the Sanqing hadn't become saints yet, otherwise, he, the saint's first disciple, would be constantly overshadowed by the Sanqing's disciples. And he would really shame his master's reputation. He was debating whether he should go out and search for opportunities when a bright yellow figure appeared outside the palace. The visitor, dressed in a brilliant yellow robe, floated into the hall. A flicker of emotion crossed her lovely face when she saw Lu Feng. Lu Feng jumped to his feet and bowed respectfully. Greetings, teacher. Nuwa waved her hand, sat at the table, and spoke in a calm voice. Lu Feng, you've been cultivating for 30,000 years. Any progress this time? Lu Feng felt a wave of helplessness. I am a useless disciple who has failed your expectations, teacher. My strength has not improved in the last 30,000 years. Nuwa's expression didn't change, and her voice softened. It's all right. Don't beat yourself up. Cultivation is a marathon, not a sprint. Maybe you just haven't had your big break yet. Lu Feng bowed quickly. Thank you for your guidance, teacher. I will dedicate myself to enlightenment. Let's be real, it was hard not to be bummed. He'd been here for almost 150,000 years. If he had been born with a powerful lineage, he'd probably be a golden immortal by now, but he hadn't even scratched the surface of the middle stage of being a true immortal. Wouldn't anyone be discouraged? And speaking of opportunities, his biggest break had been meeting Nuwa. She just happened to be enlightened and transformed, then took him as a disciple. How likely was it that another opportunity like that would come along? Besides, with his current cultivation level, he'd be squashed like a bug if he wandered out into the wilderness. His path to finding a lucky break was effectively blocked. You don't just stumble upon a good thing. Lu Feng took a deep breath. Just as he was about to say something, a robotic voice blared in his head. Host location detected, system activating. Congratulations to the host for activating the Primordial Dao sign-in system. Primordial Dao sign-in system, daily check-ins and reports will boost your cultivation and help you achieve enlightenment. Lu Feng froze. Wait, what? Is this for real? Then the voice responded, Host, the Primordial Dao sign-in system is 100% legit. Lu Feng. So, it's AI? A surge of excitement coursed through Lu Feng. A system? In every novel, a system can do anything. Could this be his ticket out of his current predicament? But weren't protagonists supposed to get their system right when they time traveled? Why was his showing up so late? The host's location was difficult to pinpoint, and his cultivation was too low, so it took the system a while to find him. Lu Feng went silent again. So, it really is because of my terrible start. So bad that the system couldn't even find me. Talk about a mess. Lu Feng was speechless, but he quickly pulled himself together. Now that I've got a cheat code, leveling up will be a breeze, right? But with Nuwa still here, he couldn't reveal too much. Best to keep this kind of thing to yourself. Luckily, Nuwa didn't stay long. Lu Feng, your inability to grasp the Tao is likely due to your origins. I plan to travel for a bit. If I can find spiritual treasures to improve your foundation, it may help you. Lu Feng was deeply touched. Thank you, teacher. I will not let you down. I will head back now. Teacher, please take care during your travels. Nuwa nodded, looking at Lu Feng with a touch of satisfaction. He might be a weak disciple, but at least he treats his teacher with respect. He works hard to be a better person, but it's a pity. A fleeting thought crossed Nuwa's mind. I need to pay more attention. If I can find the right treasures on this trip, it might help Lu Feng. But origin stories are innate and tough to rewrite. After saying goodbye to Nuwa, Lu Feng rushed out of the palace. He had been Nuwa's disciple for 50,000 years, he spent 30,000 years of it in these 33 days of chaos. Stepping out of the palace, Lu Feng couldn't help but glance back. The plaque of Wa Palace gleamed brightly in the aura. Lu Feng took a breath, transformed into a streak of light, and headed out into the wilderness. Chapter 2 The Law of Great Tao Hongliang. You are listening at novelfull.audio. As a saint, Nuwa wasn't supposed to just wander around, so she built Wa Palace outside the chaotic zone beyond the 33 heavens, but Lu Feng preferred the prehistoric world to that chaos. That's why he'd picked out a hidden water cave to stay in. He rarely came back, and now that he was, it felt a little strange, but soon, his thoughts snapped back to his system. He still had a system. After all, a feeling surged through him, and a powerful aura filled the cave. The next second, a black ink disc appeared in front of Lu Feng. He narrowed his eyes. When he looked again, the disc was still there, hovering in front of him, with a raised area in the center. Complex, ancient patterns spiraled around the disc. Lu Feng only glanced at it twice before feeling dizzy. He knew instantly this wasn't something he could just casually grasp, not with his current abilities. At the same time, information about the disc flooded into his mind. Tao disc bound successfully. Tao disc, treasure of the great Tao, for offense and defense. Can open up worlds and shake the universe. Used for daily check-ins and reports. Lu Feng was baffled. Seriously? A top-tier treasure just for checking in? Wasn't that a little much? And it could be used for offense and defense. This was the first avenue-level offensive/defensive weapon he'd ever seen. This sign-in perk was some serious treasure, maybe even more powerful than Panga's axe. After all, Panga struggled to create the world, but with the Tao disc, it was just a flick of the wrist to move mountains and shake the earth. If he used it right, and got strong enough, he might even be able to block a saint's attack. Too bad he couldn't use it to its full potential right now. He probably couldn't even tap into a billionth of its power. Best to focus on leveling up. Forcing it now could backfire. Not worth it. Lu Feng fiddled with the Tao disc for a bit, then remembered his system. System, what's the deal with this check-in thing? Honghuang Avenue sign-in system. After the host successfully binds the Avenue disc, you can check in daily and complete reports. The system will give rewards based on sign-in status. Rewards include skills, spirit treasures, elixirs, spirit roots, cultivation, etc. No way. Lu Feng covered his mouth, afraid he'd shout with joy. Was this check-in system really that easy? Just sign in and complete a daily report. And the rewards were treasures and elixirs. Free cultivation. System, are you sure there aren't any hidden conditions? Host, there are no other conditions. Host, please sign in diligently and strive to become stronger. And as compensation for the late binding, a newbie gift package is available. Collect it after signing in within 5 minutes. Countdown, 5 minutes. Lu Feng jolted to attention. He grabbed the Tao disc, he put a hand on the raised area in the center, and muttered, I report today that I received guidance from my teacher at the Hua Palace. I am so grateful, I don't even shed tears. Next second. Ding dong. Sign in successful. Lu Feng pumped his fist. Congratulations. You completed your first day of sign-in and obtained the top-tier innate spirit treasure, the God-killing formation. Congratulations. You obtained the newbie gift package. Open it. A big, bright red gift box appeared before him. Lu Feng didn't hesitate. Open it. Congratulations. You obtained the Dao-level skill Dao Hongliang technique, a 9th grade Chaos Green Lotus, and a 12th grade World-destroying Black Lotus. Lu Feng was speechless. Seriously. He just signed in, and the system was handing out this kind of loot. A 9th grade Chaos Green Lotus. That was practically his origin, the ultimate power-up. Something that was normally impossible to find, and the system just gave it away. Not only that, but Dao-level skills, too. 2 innate treasures at once. Lu Feng felt like he was dreaming. The contrast was too stark. Before, he had nothing. Now, he could have anything. Happiness had struck so suddenly, he was in a daze, but no matter how dazed he was, he still had to collect the items. God-killing formation. Innate spirit treasure. Traps all gods and nullifies all techniques. Great Dao Hongliang technique, Dao-level skill. Includes 3,000 Dao law cultivation methods, a total of 9 levels, subdivided into 99 and 81 sublevels. Each sublevel doubles combat power. All sublevels increase combat power 10 times. All 9 levels increase combat power 100 times. The Lord kills creation. 9th grade Chaos Green Lotus, innate treasure. Improves origins and power-ups. 12th grade World-destroying Black Lotus, innate treasure, belonging to the demon ancestor Rahu, master of destruction. Information flooded his head, and Lu Feng was ecstatic, especially the 12th grade World-destroying Black Lotus from demon ancestor Rahu. He never thought he'd get his hands on that. The battle between Rahu and Hongjun had been legendary, but since then, Rahu had vanished, along with the god-killing spear and the Black Lotus. Now, he had the Black Lotus. If he hadn't originally been a Green Lotus, he might have devoured the Black Lotus on the spot. But the system had sent a Chaos Green Lotus, which was perfect for his origins. Don't underestimate the Green Lotus. Pangu, creator of the world, had been conceived from one. His own origin has also been significantly improved. Except for Qinglian the day after tomorrow, Lu Feng wasn't even considered a Chaos Qinglian. He was just a Green Lotus seed that had achieved creation. If not, his cultivation wouldn't have been so difficult, but now he had the Great Dao Hongliang method and the Green Lotus to improve his origins. Cultivation should be much easier now. Speaking of the Great Dao Hongliang method, Lu Feng was eager to try it, especially after reading the description. He realized just how awesome these Dao-level skills were. Ordinary cultivators never even reached quasi-sage status. Even today's Sanqing were only at the pinnacle of quasi-sage. Chapter 3 Sign-in Rewards, the more the merrier. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Looking at his starting point, he's already at the Dao level, which will seriously boost his future cultivation potential. Plus, the Dao Hongliang method is loaded with advantages. Take its multiplication effect. For instance, Lu Feng only needs to level up once to leave equally strong cultivators in the dust. It's a total game changer. Imagine it, everyone spends the same amount of time training, but they end up facing opponents several times stronger. Lu Feng almost felt sorry for anyone who'd have to fight him later, and the multiplier effect will only increase as he levels up. It's like going for a stroll and suddenly having to take on a whole gang of guys with the same strength. Seriously scary, right? And that's not even considering the great Dao plate he's got. After processing all the info, Lu Feng was itching to start practicing. He couldn't wait to cash in on his gains. First things first, fixing his foundation. Lu Feng immediately pulled out the 9th grade Chaos Green Lotus and absorbed it without hesitation. Because it shared the same origin, absorption was quick. Almost immediately, his aura shifted. going from weak to totally profound. In no time, Lu Feng felt like whatever had been holding him back was starting to crumble. Click. A weird sound popped in his head. Lu Feng snapped his eyes open and exhaled deeply. Ha ha ha. Just as I thought. This innate spiritual treasure is seriously powerful. Even a 9th grade Chaos Green Lotus alone was enough to change his foundation dramatically. His foundation had transformed from an acquired Green Lotus to an innate 9th grade Chaos Green Lotus. If he wanted to improve it further, he'd probably have to wait until he could absorb another source, but finally, he could see the light at the end of the tunnel. Lu Feng figured he could wait. With the improvement to his foundation, the great Dao Hongliang method kicked in, replacing the original techniques taught by Nuwa, and started flowing through his whole body. Even his previously stable realm began to loosen, showing signs of a potential breakthrough. Leveling up during training was awesome news. So he immediately started absorbing the surrounding spiritual energy and aimed it right at his bottleneck. Soon, Lu Feng felt the aura getting thicker, and his realm was actually climbing toward the peak of true immortal. Before long, Lu Feng heard a cracking sound inside, his bottleneck breaking. After going from the early stage of true immortal to the peak, Lu Feng felt his cultivation plateau, but then the Dao Hongliang technique inside him kicked into high gear. At that moment, the technique that was still at the first stage actually jumped straight to the second. With the great Dao Hongliang technique at the second level, Lu Feng's strength, originally at the peak of the true immortal level, began to rise again, faster and faster. Stoked, Lu Feng sucked in more spiritual energy and kept pushing. He had a feeling he might smash through the bottleneck in one go. And sure enough, with his persistent effort, an extremely mysterious aura erupted from Lu Feng's body. It enveloped him, making him seem ethereal, like he was floating in the clouds. Early stage of Xian. Lu Feng never thought he'd actually break through the true immortal realm and reach the early stage of Xian immortal in one leap, all from absorbing a 9th grade Chaos Green Lotus. It not only improved his foundation but seriously boosted his cultivation speed and sharpened his understanding. Even though Lu Feng's foundation wasn't as good as Sanqing's and others at this point, it still stood out compared to most creatures in the ancient world. Lu Feng couldn't stop smiling, feeling the mysterious aura inside him. Now that he'd mastered the Dao Hongliang method, it brought a huge boost. Combined with the system's daily sign-in rewards, he figured his next level up wouldn't be far off. All in all, it was a crazy successful day. He'd improved his foundation, scored 2 innate treasures, and leveled up big time. Thinking about it, Lu Feng was seriously looking forward to tomorrow's sign-in reward. Luckily, in this ancient world, a day flew by. Lu Feng kicked back until the next day. He snatched up the disc, eager to put his hand on it, not forgetting to report in. Today was another great day. I upgraded my foundation to the 9th grade Qinglian. My cultivation speed is gonna be insane from now on. The system prompt came right after. Congratulations to the host for completing today's sign-in, and will be rewarded with the acquired treasure, the demon-slaying knife. Lu Feng nodded, pleased. Gotta love this golden ticket. Look at these rewards. He just had to press his fingerprints every day and say 2 sentences, and he'd get spiritual treasures, pills, formations, the works. Nothing could be better. Of course, Lu Feng still practiced every day, but thanks to the system, he had to dedicate his attention to signing in during his practice. Even still, it was way better than the 30,000 years of grinding he'd done before. Congratulations to the host for completing today's sign-in, and will be rewarded with the acquired Lingbao Immortal Sword. Congratulations to the host for completing today's sign-in and being rewarded with the innate treasure, the God-killing spear. Congratulations to the host for completing today's sign-in, and will be rewarded with 2 beams of Hongmeng Purple Qi. Congratulations to the host for completing today's sign-in and being rewarded with the innate spiritual root 10,000 Years Willow. Meanwhile, in the prehistoric world, a streak of light raced across the land. Soon, it landed on a mountaintop and turned into a woman. Nuwa gazed at the acquired spiritual root in her hand, a hint of confusion on her face. In this ancient world, everything was up to chance. Even with her saint-level skills, she'd been out for a long time but hadn't found an innate spiritual root. It wasn't that acquired spiritual roots were worthless, but Lu Feng needed innate ones, as the effects of acquired roots weren't as strong. Nuwa paused, then decided to keep searching. just in case she stumbled across one, but as she moved, a ray of light suddenly headed straight for her. Chapter 4: The Tao Disc Replica. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Nuwa tried to dodge, but the beam of light seemed to have a mind of its own, radiating an aura that hinted at the very essence of the universe, making it impossible to avoid. It struck Nuwa squarely, sending her staggering back several feet. However, this impact also allowed Nuwa to pin down her attacker. What is this? Nuwa examined the inkstone in her hands, a puzzled look on her face. A faint, powerful aura emanated from the inkstone. As a saint, she was surprised that this object could knock her back so easily, but now, the inkstone seemed inert, devoid of any energy fluctuations. Only the pattern etched into its surface felt increasingly familiar. After a moment, a thought sparked in Nuwa's mind. Could this be a map of the Great Tao? Certain now, Nuwa took another careful look. It had to be. But it was just an ordinary-looking inkstone, so how could it be inscribed with such profound markings? Just as Nuwa pondered this, a message flashed into her mind: reproduction of the Great Tao Plate. Nuwa was fiddling with the Tao Plate, trying to understand it, when a familiar voice suddenly echoed from within. Reporting in today. I received guidance from my teacher in the Imperial Palace of Wa. I'm so grateful, I could cry. Another awesome day. Heiji has leveled up to a 9th grade Qinglian. My cultivation speed is about to get a major boost. I'm stoked to think about how fast I'm progressing lately. Nuwa's eyebrows rose at the sound of her disciple's voice. Wasn't this Lu Feng? And judging from his words, it seemed he was doing some kind of daily report. Nuwa had no idea her apprentice was so diligent, taking this reporting thing so seriously. Furthermore, his perception of her had reached an almost reverential level. Thinking about this, Nuwa couldn't help but feel a surge of affection. She understood why Sanqing and the others liked having apprentices. It really was nice to have someone who cared. She definitely needed to help Lu Feng improve his cultivation. It would be even better if she could find him an innate spiritual root. Just as Nuwa was considering how to find an innate spiritual root for Lu Feng, his voice continued. Can you believe it? I just snagged another 12th grade Chaos Green Lotus. I absorbed it right away and shot my potential through the roof to the level of an innate demon god, a 12th grade Chaos Green Lotus, no less. I've been on a lucky streak lately. I keep stumbling across innate spiritual roots. But there are so many, it's hard to choose. Nuwa was stunned. She wondered if she had misheard. Was a 12th grade Chaos Green Lotus really that easy to come by? Lu Feng said it with such sincerity that she was floored, and according to him, innate spiritual roots were just like weeds. You could just pick them up off the ground. She'd been traveling for ages and hadn't seen a single one. How could Lu Feng find so many at once, including a 12th grade Chaos Green Lotus? Innate spiritual roots were among the rarest treasures in the entire ancient world. Since Lu Feng already had a spiritual root, what he needed most was to absorb innate spiritual roots of the same origin to strengthen his foundation, but their scarcity had made it nearly impossible for Lu Feng to improve, and his cultivation had stagnated. Nuwa knew this, but even as a saint, there was nothing she could do. Potential was generally set at birth. For acquired beings, it was almost impossible to become an innate one. The distinction between innate creatures and innate demons was even sharper. Lu Feng had started as an ordinary green lotus seed, but now he had become the 12th level innate demon god Chaos Green Lotus. How could Nuwa not be astonished? The improvement of one's potential would naturally lead to breakthroughs in cultivation. If Nuwa was right, Lu Feng's strength had likely increased dramatically. She wondered what kind of lucky break her dopey apprentice had stumbled upon. Nuwa was far more interested in Lu Feng's daily reports. Today's another beautiful day, but I struck out. Didn't find anything good. Good news. I leveled up from early stage Xianxian to mid stage Xianxian. I'm just chilling, waiting for my teacher to come back. I'm gonna blow her mind. The more Nuwa listened, the more amazed she became. She hadn't been gone that long, and Lu Feng had already shot up from early stage true immortal to mid stage Xianxian. When Lu Feng first came to her, he had already been cultivating for 30,000 years but was still just an early stage true immortal. Now, after a short absence, Lu Feng had blown past so many levels all the way to mid-stage Xianxian. His innate potential had been holding him back, but now that that restraint was gone, Lu Feng's cultivation was naturally skyrocketing, even though Lu Feng's daily reports were brief. Nuwa could tell he was working hard. If he were lazy, he wouldn't be. Reporting his progress every day, Nuwa felt a surge of happiness. She was glad she had an apprentice, otherwise, she wouldn't know how wonderful it was to have such a carefree disciple. Just as Nuwa was thinking about whether she should go back out to hunt for innate spiritual roots, Lu Feng's report popped up again. Nuwa listened to each entry until she heard the last one for the day. I'm seriously on a roll. Today, I found an innate spiritual root Sanqing. This is huge. After I absorb it, I might jump from peak Xianxian to Jingxian. I can finally hold my own for my teacher. But after hearing that, Nuwa wasn't sure if she should be envious or relieved. Her apprentice was one lucky dude. So lucky that even his saintly teacher was a little jealous. But her disciple hadn't forgotten her, and Nuwa was pleased. Suddenly, Nuwa's head snapped up. Wait a minute. He's only a Xianxian. The wilderness is dangerous. Is he still wandering around out there? Otherwise, how could he explain why Lu Feng was finding so many incredible things every day? Chapter 5 The Law of Time. You are listening at novelfull.audio. When Nuwa thought about it, she couldn't sit still. Lu Feng was only a Xianxian. Out in the wilderness, a natural disaster could easily take him out, plus, her teacher was right there. What was he thinking? Suddenly, Nuwa's expression changed. She remembered what Lu Feng had said before. Disciple will definitely live up to teacher's expectations. Could it be that Lu Feng, that silly kid, was doing this for her? Was he pushing himself too hard, venturing into the wilderness? The thought made her heart jump. Nuwa was overthinking, unaware of how proud Lu Feng was feeling. He'd scored big with his sign-ins lately, getting tons of goodies to boost his cultivation, like the snow lotus stem with innate spiritual roots in his hand. Normally, something that awesome would be impossible to get, but hey, he had a cheat code. Even though the snow lotus stem wasn't a top 10 innate spiritual root from ancient times, it was more than enough for Lu Feng to power up right now. He could already feel himself breaking through another bottleneck, so today, he'd use this snow lotus stem to blast his way to the peak of Xianxian. The snow lotus stem was like his chaos green lotus, a perfect match. Absorbing it was a breeze. It was way easier to digest than other innate spiritual roots. Lu Feng continuously absorbed the energy. The wisps of power flowed through the great Tao Hongliang method, becoming his own spiritual power. Before long, Lu Feng's energy skyrocketed. He was surging towards the top from the peak of Xianxian. Finally, after completely absorbing the innate spiritual root, Lu Feng's body erupted with a monstrous aura. The power of law swirled within it. Even though it was weak, it was still a big deal for Lu Feng. He took a deep breath, savoring it. It was the power of water. His true form was a green lotus, closely tied to water. So, after reaching the early stage of Golden Immortal, the first law he grasped was the power of water. The difference between the peak of Xianxian and Golden Immortal was significant. His understanding was so much deeper after his promotion. Once you hit Golden Immortal, you were officially in the big leagues of cultivation, because after becoming a Golden Immortal, you could gather the 3 flowers on top. Jingxian was one of those flowers. Above Lu Feng's head, a golden lotus bloomed in full glory, but unlike other people's golden flowers, the petals of Lu Feng's golden flower had faint cyan lines, making it even more beautiful. Lu Feng felt the incredible power within his body, and a smile spread across his face. No wonder everyone dreams of immortality. It's totally worth it. Compared to a Xianxian, a Golden Immortal Queen is on a whole different level, like 10 times more powerful than the peak of Xianxian. And that was no exaggeration. Lu Feng glanced at the golden flowers above his head and closed his eyes again. Breaking through to the golden fairy stage was a rush, but he couldn't forget to refine his Golden Immortal Tao fruit. Now that the golden flower had taken shape, it was time to condense the Golden Immortal Tao fruit in one shot. He couldn't afford to mess this up. Lu Feng secluded himself for 100 years. When he opened his eyes again, the golden flower on top was much more solid. Lu Feng nodded, satisfied. His cultivation speed, thanks to the exercises, was almost 100 times faster than before. The Dao Hongliang method had another perk: it could run all the time, even when Lu Feng wasn't actively cultivating. The technique would keep working in his body. It wasn't as effective as him doing it directly, but it was better than nothing. Other cultivators might spend 100,000 years practicing, but they'd have interruptions of at least 10,000 years. He would be effectively practicing for 100,000 years straight. He was already way ahead of the game. Plus, he'd stabilized at the early stage of Golden Immortal in just 100 years. Lu Feng couldn't have imagined this kind of speed before. On top of that, the Great Dao Hongliang method was now at the 3rd level. Lu Feng could take on 30 Golden Immortals of the same level and win. That kind of insane strength would only get crazier with time. Just imagine, when he reached the Saint level, the Great Dao Hongliang method would hit level 7, he'd be able to go up against 70 Saints solo. Pumped, Lu Feng immediately remembered his sign-in streak. He'd been in seclusion for 100 years, missing out on 100 chances to practice. The host can activate hosted sign-in during the retreat period. Lu Feng blinked. Wait, I can host sign-ins? Yes, would the host like to enable it? The system was asking, so how could he say no? Open it. Lu Feng felt a pang, thinking about all those missed check-ins and the potential training resources they might have held. But he shook it off and refocused on the system. Looks like I haven't signed in today, right? Let's do it now. Lu Feng put his hand on the avenue plate in front of him. I came out of seclusion, condensed my Dao fruit, and even understood the law of water and the law of wood. It's a win. Congratulations to the host for completing today's sign-in. You have been rewarded with a fragment of understanding the law of time *1. The next second, Lu Feng felt an overwhelming power of law flood his mind. Holy crap! Does it have to hurt this much? Lu Feng almost lost his balance from the pain. Thankfully, it passed quickly. When Lu Feng opened his eyes again, they were wide with shock. Damn, the system is seriously OP. Lu Feng was still trying to process the power of the law of time swirling around him. Even though it was just one fragment, it had allowed him to grasp the most difficult law of time in one fell swoop. Lu Feng didn't hesitate. He immediately began to understand the power of the law within him. Opportunities like this were rare, and he wasn't about to waste it. Time seemed to blur, but when Lu Feng opened his eyes again, the power of the law of time around him was even stronger, and he was buzzing with excitement. I didn't expect this breakthrough to directly unlock a time law skill. I'm so in the money. The time law skill Lu Feng now possessed was called time acceleration. Chapter 6. Come on and lie down. You are listening at novelfull.audio. As the name suggests, it's a real killer move that can wipe anything out in the blink of an eye. The only thing is, it sucks up way too much juice, so I gotta be careful when I use it. Lu Feng wasn't planning on busting it out unless it was absolutely necessary, save the best for last. As soon as he was out of his retreat, Lu Feng checked his system. It had taken him a whole month to get the hang of the law of time this time, but a month was nothing compared to the centuries he'd spent holed up before. No sooner had Lu Feng glanced at the system than the notification started blowing up his screen. Congrats! You've completed your daily sign-in. Reward: Honghuang Daoyuo Golden Immortal Level Virtual God Finger Skill. Congrats! You've completed your daily sign-in. Reward: Honghuang Daoyuo Golden Immortal Level Realm of the Gods Skill. Congrats! You've completed your daily sign-in. Reward: Honghuang Daoyuo Golden Immortal Level Destruction of 10,000 Techniques Skill. Congrats! You've completed your daily sign-in. Reward: Time Law Fragment *1. Lu Feng was floored by the barrage of messages. When he saw what the rewards were, he jumped for joy. The system hadn't let him down. Turns out, his sign-in system was the real deal. Not only did it actually work, but the rewards were off the charts. Now Lu Feng didn't have to sweat about surviving in the wild, especially after seeing those 3 Honghuang Daoyuo Golden Immortal level skills. His satisfaction was through the roof. Virtual God Finger, tap into the avenue of space and obliterate anything. Realm of the Gods, create your own dimension and rule it. Destruction of all techniques, unstoppable force, destroy all techniques and all realms with one shot. With 3 Honghuang Daoyuo Golden Immortal level skills, no one in the Golden Immortal ranks would last 3 rounds against him. Truth be told, Lu Feng wasn't planning on hanging out with any Golden Immortals just yet. The world was huge, and he wasn't interested, he just wanted to chill in his cave, eat, and wait for the end. In his excitement, Lu Feng had totally spaced on his daily report. It wasn't until the system reminded him that he realized he needed to catch up. Lu Feng's heart sank. Turns out, the system's rewards weren't freebies after all. He'd already pocketed the loot, and now he had to write the reports. Even though there was no word count, Lu Feng was already getting a headache just thinking about it, but a headache was a headache. The report had to get done. I'm out of my retreat, and my strength has leveled up to mid-stage Golden Immortal. Awesome! I haven't let the master down, right? I've mastered the power of the law of time. I rock. Absorbing another innate spiritual root, I feel stronger. Can I finally kick back and relax? Just hang out in my cave, watch the clouds, and enjoy the simple life. Sounds amazing. From today on, I'm gonna work hard to live the easy life. Meanwhile, back at the Wa Palace, Nuwa, who was chilling and meditating, suddenly felt a surge of energy. She turned her gaze to the avenue panel floating in front of her. Soon, her prized disciple's voice came through the line, my strength's broken through to mid-stage Golden Immortal, which is totally epic. Today's a good day, anything is possible. Gotta keep being a happy Hongliang, go, go, go. From today on, I'm gonna work hard to live the easy life. Nuwa, what the heck? Was this really coming from her apprentice? Wasn't he the most obedient and respectful kid around? Why the sudden change? Then, Nuwa's eyes widened. Wait a minute. Her disciple had actually reached mid-stage Golden Immortal. That was crazy fast. It had only been 300 years since his last retreat, and now he'd shot up to mid-stage Golden Immortal. That was way too quick, right? Nuwa was shocked and confused. Could it be the kid just got lucky and had some kind of breakthrough during this time? Before Nuwa could even process it, her amazing apprentice's voice came through the line again. I've already reached mid-stage Golden Immortal. Maybe I can slow down the training a bit, right? I'm suddenly thinking my cave is kinda drab. How about I plant some little lotus flowers to spruce it up? The lives of the big shots are simple and comfortable. Nuwa was dumbfounded. What did he mean, slow down his training? And who said saints didn't need to train? They had to work hard too, right? Besides, she'd only ever taken on this one disciple. Was he already satisfied with how far he'd come? Nuwa's fingers trembled with rage. That little punk. You haven't even reached Honghuang Daoyuo Jingxian level, and you're already getting cocky. Where's my stick? Nuwa had always thought her apprentice was a breeze. She didn't need to guide him or anything. The kid knew how to train, even if it didn't do much, but now that he'd improved, and his training had paid off, he was thinking about slacking off. Nuwa couldn't stand for that. She clenched her fists tighter. I need to find a good, sturdy stick. Her disciple was now at the innate demon god level. If she didn't find a strong stick, it wouldn't even hurt when she hit him. Before Nuwa could find a stick, Lu Feng's voice came through the avenue again. I'm thinking that just lotus flowers in the cave would be kinda boring. Maybe I'll go check out the human race today. They gotta have some pretty flowers over there. I could just pick some and bring them back to the cave. But the human race is kinda messed up right now, right? They're supposed to be on par with Tiandao, but Tiandao's just using them as pawns. I gotta get back early today, though. If anyone sees me, it'll be a disaster. I'm thinking I should establish a human religion during this time. It's a shame what's happening to that race. It was supposed to be the teacher's creation, but I've stolen all their luck. I wonder where the teacher is right now. If he comes back and sees me getting a piece of the human race pie, he'll be furious, right? You gotta strike first to win, no half measures. I'm gonna establish a human religion, hog all the human race's fate, and save them from the disasters to come. Chapter 7 Nuwa established the human religion. You are listening at novelfull.audio. After hearing her apprentice, Nuwa was bewildered. She did create humans, earning her sainthood through heavenly merit, but the thought of someone daring to mess with her creation. Unthinkable, she's the revered Virgin Mother of the human race. With so few saints, who'd be reckless enough to target her people? Apparently, some folks were blind to the consequences, and if Lu Feng was right, the future looked bleak for humanity. That thought made Nuwa jumpy. She created humans. Their destiny should be shared. But if their fate was stolen, if they were manipulated and exploited, wouldn't all her efforts be for nothing? How did Lu Feng even catch a glimpse of this future? Was what he said really going to happen? Nuwa considered this, then stood abruptly. Instantly, a streak of light shot from Wapalis, Buzhou Mountain. The young man in white sat serenely at the summit. Moments later, the light landed before him. "Brother, how are you?" That he looked up, a smile in his eyes. "It's been ages, little sister. What brings you here?" Nuwa wasn't surprised. He knew why she came. Her brother, Fushi, was a master of deduction, a diviner without equal. They said he was as clever as a demon. Even with her saintly protection, Fushi's calculations could still cut through 3 layers of heaven's secrets. Clearly, her purpose was no surprise. "Since you know, brother, could you divine the human race's future?" Hearing her mention the human race, Fushi seemed puzzled. "How could I possibly decide their fate? With a saint like you watching over them, and me lending a hand, their future is assured." Nuwa smiled sadly and shook her head. "You don't understand, brother. I suspect." She started to mention Lu Feng, but stopped herself. "I suspect someone wants to steal the humans' destiny, or even worse, to suppress them." Fushi was instantly on alert. "Seriously? Wait, let me see." Fushi had helped Nuwa create humans. He, too, felt a kinship with them. The siblings were confident. Surely, they'd notice anyone plotting against humanity. Fushi retrieved his divination tools and began calculating. Images flashed rapidly across his face. Finally, one image stabilized. Fushi's pupils dilated. The next second, he coughed up blood. "Brother," Nuwa paled. Fushi shook his head, wiping his mouth, still shaken. "I'm all right. Just need to rest." Nuwa was still frightened. "What did you see?" Fushi shook his head again. "I saw something, but secrets shouldn't be revealed. One thing is certain." He looked at his sister, his voice colder. "The human race's luck will be stolen." Nuwa froze. What Fushi didn't say was that the vision also showed humanity suppressed by heaven's laws. Without luck to protect them, the weak humans would suffer terribly. Heaven's schemes were so convoluted, even Fushi, close to quasi-sage, knew he couldn't speak of it. The siblings exchanged a look. Nuwa understood instantly. Her emotions were complex. Lu Feng was right. Humanity was facing a terrible calamity. She had to find a way to prevent it. Nobody was going to steal her human's destiny. This concerned all living things. Nuwa steeled herself, making a decision. "I'm going to Shouyang Mountain." Fushi knew what that meant. "Little sister, going to Shouyang Mountain means offending Sanqing." "Those 3. Nuwa shook her head, her eyes determined. "They're all Xianmen saints. Calling them senior brother is pointless. They wouldn't dare do something like this. Besides, I created the human race. If I want to establish a religion among them, what can they do?" In the Xianmen order, only Hongjun outranked her. Sanqing hadn't achieved sainthood yet. How could they oppose her, a heavenly saint? Fushi sighed helplessly. "If that's what you've decided, go. I'll always be here for you." "Thank you, brother. I'm leaving." With that, Nuwa sped towards Shouyang Mountain. For a saint, thousands of miles were nothing. At the base of Shouyang Mountain, the human race lived peacefully. Laughter and joy filled the air. Nuwa's arrival disrupted the pleasant atmosphere. Sui Rensher and the other humans she had created quickly noticed her. "We greet the Holy Mother." "Welcome, Our Lady," the calls echoed. Nuwa nodded casually, looking around. She spoke warmly. "I created the human race. I know cultivation is difficult for you. I'm here to give you methods to strengthen yourselves. As she spoke, a golden halo appeared behind her. This was the golden light of merit given by heaven when she created humanity, now condensed into a wheel. The moment she proclaimed her intent, countless beings in the prehistoric world sensed it, their attention drawn to Shouyang Mountain. Lu Feng, on his journey, felt something. Movement at Shouyang Mountain. Did teacher already head over to establish a religion? Does this mean I can't dig for grass? That the thought barely formed before his teacher's thunderous voice shook the sky. Heaven above, I hereby establish the human religion, to guide and educate the human race. I ask for heaven's blessing. Instantly, golden clouds filled the sky, with faint music and feathers descending, the powerful sound echoing for thousands of miles. Seeing this, Lu Feng trembled. Chapter 8 Why Does Heaven Hinder Me? You are listening at novelfull.audio. People are teaching now, starting today. But it wasn't Lao Tzu being taught by Li Xia, it was Nuwa, his teacher. Isn't that a little messed up? Before Lu Feng could process it, Nuwa had already taken her spot on Shouyang Mountain, ready to preach. A flood of human cultivation methods poured from her lips. From beneath her, endless golden lotuses bloomed, carpeting the path to the mountain's base. Suddenly, the Taoist aura swirled, drawing all the spirits in worship. The human race, through Nuwa's teachings, began mastering incredible techniques. From that moment on, humanity officially embarked on the path of cultivation. Nuwa's eyes showed relief as she saw the humans beneath Shouyang Mountain gaining enlightenment. Just then, a vast golden cloud of merit descended from the horizon. In a flash, it settled over Nuwa's head. Golden light streamed from the cloud, sinking into the golden wheel of merit behind her. Fueled by heavenly merit, Nuwa felt her cultivation level surging forward. She barely stepped into the realm of a saint, and after tens of thousands of years of practice, she was only at the second level of the Honghuang Daoyuo Golden Immortal. Now, after founding this faith, she jumped directly to the fourth level. Leaping 2 realms at once, Nuwa was stunned. The golden clouds of merit vanished as quickly as they'd appeared, but as they dissipated, the sky darkened, and a strong wind whipped up. Countless creatures felt the spiritual energy within them begin to boil. Then, a huge hole tore open in the sky, and a lavender light spilled out. Nuwa looked up, seeing the light grow brighter and brighter until it shot toward her, landing in her arms. It was a jade seal, engraved with the 4 sacred beasts. Purple in color, it felt warm to the touch. As soon as she held it, Nuwa received a flood of information. The Kongtong seal, the most precious treasure of acquired merit. This seal was connected to the destiny of the human race. Now that it was in her hands, she had to use it to its fullest potential. So, to the awe of all spirits, Nuwa raised the Kongtong seal high and declared, "Today, I use the Kongtong seal to stabilize humanity's destiny." That the moment those words left her lips, every being felt a stronger connection between themselves and the Kongtong seal. That supreme jade seal seemed to be intertwined with their futures. Just as Nuwa was establishing the human faith, on Kunlun Mountain, an old man sitting cross-legged clutched his chest, a metallic tang filling his throat. Confusion clouded his face. No, how is this possible? How could she go to the humans to establish a faith? That he felt like he'd missed a massive opportunity, one that Nuwa had seized. It was mine. He nearly ground his teeth, eyes burning with resentment. The key to sanctification. Nuwa. He wanted to tear Nuwa to shreds. The Hongmeng purple energy swirling around him flickered, threatening to dissipate. Back when they were in Zixiao Palace, the 3 brothers, Lao Tzu and his siblings, were remarkable, and Lao Tzu had even declared himself the first among the 3 pure ones. Even after receiving the Hongmeng purple qi, he had once believed he would be the first of the 6 to become a saint. But then Nuwa created the human race, gained heavenly virtue, and became a saint in one fell swoop. He hadn't been discouraged, but had continued to seek the foundation for his own sanctification. He had finally discovered his chance in the human race at Shouyang Mountain, and now, before he could even leave Kunlun, Nuwa had established a religion among them. That was his chance to become a saint. Now that Nuwa had taken it, there was no way for him to achieve enlightenment. His path to sainthood was completely cut off. Just thinking about it made him furious, but there was nothing he could do. He had to tread carefully. Nuwa was now the only saint besides Hongjun in the ancient world. He wasn't a saint yet, and he couldn't afford to offend her. Meanwhile, at the foot of Shuyang Mountain, since Nuwa had founded the human religion, the fate of the human race had instantly focused on Shuyang Mountain, secured by the Kongtong seal. Feeling the link between herself and the human strengthen once more, Nuwa's eyes sparkled with joy. But that happiness didn't last long. The cloudless sky suddenly filled with dark clouds, thick, swirling clouds gathered over Shuyang Mountain, and thunder exploded. Under the ominous sky, the creatures of Shuyang Mountain scattered, even the humans looked startled. What's happening? Nuwa looked up at the strange scene, her eyes narrowing. From within the thunderclouds, bolts of lightning lashed out, heading straight for Nuwa. Those watching from afar were shocked. Nuwa had just established the way of humanity and been rewarded with heavenly merit. How could she be facing divine punishment so soon? She had become a saint thanks to her merits. In this ancient world, saints blessed by merit were practically heaven's darlings. Even Tao ancestor Hongjun couldn't casually move against Nuwa, but now, heaven was directly punishing her. Unbelievable. But Nuwa seemed to have anticipated this. Her expression didn't change. She stood there quietly, awaiting the punishment. The first bolt struck, aiming directly at her. But the golden will of merit behind Nuwa flared into existence. When the lightning hit it, it vanished without a trace, as if it had never existed. Everyone saw the golden light of merit behind Nuwa as the dark purple lightning rained down on her, the energies canceling each other out. The watching powerhouses were dumbfounded. Was this the power of a saint? No one expected Nuwa to simply hum, then produce the innate gourd vine she had used to create humanity. She stroked the vine, then lashed it out at the dark clouds. The force carried the power of 1,000 thunderbolts, the saint's pressure threatening all living creatures within 100,000 miles, choking the air. Saint Nuwa is truly too powerful. The power of a saint is terrifying. Is this Saint Nuwa's true strength? Everyone was lost in their own thoughts. Nuwa dispersed the dark clouds, her voice cold. My establishment of the human religion is a great blessing. Why does heaven hinder me? Chapter 9 Nuwa meets Hongjun. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The moment the voice stopped, the scattered dark clouds swirled back together, seeming ready to pounce. Nuwa didn't back down. She stepped forward, the innate gourd vine in her hand transformed into a flurry of whips, lashing directly at the dark clouds in the sky. Her fierce display shocked countless beings. Sage Nuwa is incredible. She dares to confront the heavenly tribulation head-on. I wonder if a saint's power can stand against heaven's thunder. It's still a heavenly tribulation. Even saints have to answer to a higher power. Many powerful figures watched the scene unfold. Within the demon clan, Jun and Tai were speechless. Selfishly, they hoped nothing would happen to Nuwa during the tribulation. After all, she was now their demon emperor Wa. At the foot of the mountain, the 12 ancestral witches watched with battle intent in their eyes. This Nuwa is a force to be reckoned with, but it's a pity she's a demon and destined to be our enemy. On the North Sea coast, a giant turtle briefly poked its head out of the water, then vanished beneath the waves. Nuwa fought with unmatched strength. The golden halo of merit behind her clashed continuously with the lightning. Finally, the dark clouds, repeatedly struck by Nuwa's attacks, dissipated, while her golden halo shone even brighter. Nuwa gazed at the clear sky, then gathered her weapon, but before she could turn, a wave of auspicious clouds floated in from the horizon. Nuwa and the others sensed something and turned to see who was coming. Nuwa put aside her pride and bowed to the white-robed Taoist approaching her. Greetings, teacher. May you enjoy eternal prosperity. Hongjun sighed softly. Do you know why I've come today? Nuwa shook her head. Please tell me, teacher. Hongjun's expression grew serious, and his voice hardened. Nuwa, you established the human religion and robbed me of my chance at sanctification. Do you understand the gravity of your actions? As a saint, haven't you considered that your elder brother had something to do with the establishment of this religion? Nuwa had, of course, considered it, otherwise, she wouldn't have sought confirmation from her elder brother, but at that moment, she just wanted to play dumb. Teacher, even as a saint, I can't know everything that happens in the world. Besides, I created the human race, so surely it's acceptable for me to establish the human religion. As for my elder brother, he's exceptionally gifted and talented. He can always find another chance to become a saint. This time, it was my fault, and I can only apologize. Hongjun nearly exploded with frustration. Opportunities for sanctification weren't like finding a dime a dozen. Hongjuan's eyes narrowed. Actually, there's no need for your senior brother to look for a way to become a saint. All you need to do is... Nuwa cut him off. As long as senior brother focuses on his cultivation, an opportunity to become a saint will naturally present itself. For now, the human religion is established, and its fate cannot be given away on a whim. Teacher wouldn't be biased towards senior brother, would you? Nuwa had gone too far, so Hongjun was embarrassed to push his agenda. At this point, he could only swallow his grievances. After all, Nuwa still held the title of Holy Mother of the human race. No matter how powerful Hongjun was, he couldn't strip Nuwa of that position. Not even the heavenly way could accomplish that, but because of that, Hongjun didn't trust the fate of the human religion in Nuwa's hands. Nuwa, you might want to reconsider this. This humanity is still your senior brother's opportunity to become a saint. Nuwa raised her head. So what if I created the human religion with my own hands? If anyone is to teach, it will be me and brother Fushi together. Instead of letting others misuse it and take the easy way. Besides, now that the heavenly tribulation has ended, my establishment of the human religion is confirmed. Teacher, are you really going to depose your disciple of her sainthood? Hongjun wouldn't dare to shoulder such karmic consequences. He was silenced by Nuwa's words. Nuwa had taken the lead in establishing the human religion and endured the heavenly thunder tribulation. If he interfered further, the karmic debt would be too great. He wasn't ready to bear that, so, he could only let her search for a way to become a saint. Of course, I wouldn't do that, but your senior brother's path to becoming a saint still lies within the human race. If he comes to the human race in the future, I hope you won't stop him. Nuwa merely smiled. My brother is responsible for his own opportunities. How could I interfere? Nuwa bowed to Hongjun again. Teacher, I'm still working to establish the human religion. I must leave you now. As soon as she finished, Nuwa disappeared from the sky. Hongjun also left quickly. Nuwa had nothing to arrange. After giving some instructions to the Swearen clan, Nuwa returned to her palace. While the conflict between Nuwa and Hongjun raged on, Lu Feng watched with great enthusiasm. Those melons were more delicious to see in person. But Shouyang Mountain was in the middle of establishing a religion. Lu Feng didn't want to cause disruption, so, Lu Feng quickly returned to his cave. After sitting down, Lu Feng opened his backpack and started calculating his rewards for signing in, and when he finished, Lu Feng almost wept because of his wealth. He remembered coming here as a pauper. Now, with the Dayapan's help, he had saved so many good things. In his backpack, the most inferior item was now an acquired spiritual treasure. Most important were the innate spiritual treasures and innate spiritual roots. He had collected a lot in the past 300 years. Although some had become his cultivation resources, no one could ever have too many good things. And his strength had increased. Lu Feng was interested in signing in again. He placed his hand on the road plate and mumbled, I went for a walk today and found it too dangerous outside. It's safer to come back to the cave. Now that my strength has reached the middle stage of Golden Immortal, my overall strength may be enough to challenge Tai Golden Immortal. Lu Feng finished speaking, and the system beeped. Chapter 10 Am I the Great Disciple of the People's Sect? You are listening at novelfull.audio. Congratulations, host. You snagged today's sign-in bonus, a 12th grade Pure World White Lotus, a top-tier innate spiritual treasure. Instantly, a pristine white lotus appeared in Lu Feng's hand. He meticulously counted the petals. 12, exactly. Satisfied, Lu Feng clicked his tongue in amazement. White lotuses are legendary, especially in this era. This is a treasure most people only dream of, yet here he was, holding one. Back in the day, the 36th grade Chaos Green Lotus transformed into 5 lotus seeds. These seeds blossomed into the Chaos Green Lotus, the Merit Golden Lotus, the Karmic Fire Red Lotus, the Purifying White Lotus, and the World-Destroying Black Lotus. The Chaos Green Lotus split into 3 treasures, ending up with the Sanqing. The Merit Golden Lotus is wielded by Taoist Jain, and the Karmic Fire Red Lotus by Patriarch Mingi, and somehow, he managed to get his hands on both the 12th grade world-destroying Black Lotus and this pure world White Lotus. The sudden windfall left Lu Feng reeling. He quickly settled into a meditative pose. Compared to the world-destroying Black Lotus, the pure world White Lotus had a slightly weaker offensive punch. Its strength lies in its purifying power. With the pure world White Lotus in his possession, Lu Feng prepared to visit his master. Reaching Nuwa Palace, however, required a special trick. Since becoming a saint, Nuwa couldn't just wander around as she pleased. Naturally, her dojo was located way up in the 33rd heaven. For Lu Feng, barely a Jinxian, getting to Nuwa Palace without help from his teacher was next to impossible. Thankfully, when Nuwa took him in, she'd given him a special teleportation circle. This circle directly linked Lu Feng's cave to Nuwa's palace. With this, Lu Feng could travel freely between the two places. Lu Feng activated the circle. After a dizzying moment, he found himself before the main hall of Nuwa Palace. He bowed respectfully to the closed doors. Disciple Lu Feng, here to pay respects to the teacher. A moment later, the doors swung open on their own, and Nuwa's voice echoed out. Come on in. Lu Feng hurried into the main hall. He bowed once more to Nuwa, seated at the head of the hall. Disciple greets the teacher. Nuwa casually waved her hand, a faint smile gracing her lips. Something felt off about her smile, but Lu Feng couldn't quite put his finger on it, so he waited uneasily for her instructions. Little did he know, Nuwa was waiting for him to speak. How has your cultivation been going? That even though Nuwa knew Lu Feng's strength, she still wanted to hear it from him. Lu Feng didn't hold back, answering honestly. This disciple stumbled upon an opportunity these last few centuries. Thanks to that, I managed to reach the mid-stage of Jinxian. Nuwa raised an eyebrow. Not bad, you're coming along nicely. You might even be worthy of being called the eldest disciple of the human sect. Hearing this, Lu Feng froze. The eldest disciple of the human religion. Nuwa nodded. That's right. I've established the human sect. As my only disciple, you're naturally the eldest. Lu Feng was at a loss, especially after seeing the beasts caged up in here. He'd never done anything like this before. Shouldn't that title belong to Xuandu? Why was it being passed to him? Maybe his teacher was taking Xuandu's job, so the title was being reassigned. If that was the case, Xuandu was getting a raw deal, right? What puzzled Lu Feng most was that Nuwa had beat him to the punch in establishing the human religion. Laozi established the human religion in Shouyang Mountain and became a saint. From then on, humans were able to practice the golden elixir method taught by Laozi. But now that Nuwa had taken the lead, what was he supposed to do? Digging deeper, was his teacher cutting off his own path to becoming a saint? The thought terrified him. He'd never heard of any conflict between him and his teacher before. As he pondered this, the Taoist boy's voice broke through from outside. Empress Nuwa, Sanqing requests an audience. Nuwa's expression didn't change as she replied calmly. Let them in. Seeing this, Lu Feng quickly found a seat and settled down. He was curious about Sanqing's purpose. Soon, 3 figures entered the main hall. In the center stood an old man, clad in a golden Xianwen Taoist robe. Judging by his age, this had to be Laozi. To the far left was a middle-aged man in white robes. Although Lu Feng had never seen Sanqing in person, he immediately recognized the figure. This middle-aged man was definitely Yuanshi Tianzuan. The remaining young man on the right was handsome, his black hair pulled back with a crown, and a mysterious robe amplified his extraordinary aura. This was Tong Tian of the 3 pure ones. Lu Feng watched silently, saying nothing. Laozi spoke first, smiling and bowing to Nuwa. It's been a while. I hope junior sister Nuwa is doing well. Nuwa pretended not to understand his intent and said with a smile. What brings my 3 senior brothers to Nuwa Palace? As the saying goes, nobody visits the 3 treasures hall without a good reason. That was definitely the case with Sanqing. The 3 didn't expect Nuwa to be so blunt, but seeing her playing dumb, Laozi took a deep breath and said calmly. Junior sister Nuwa, we came to ask why junior sister is stealing our opportunity. Nuwa frowned, a hint of displeasure in her eyes. Senior brother, when have I ever intercepted your opportunity? You shouldn't make wild accusations. Hearing the evasion in Nuwa's words, Laozi was annoyed, but he suppressed his anger. Junior sister Nuwa, you've started the human sect yourself. How can you deny what you're doing? Was she really going to play dumb with them? Nuwa raised her eyebrows. I created the human race, so why shouldn't I establish a human religion within it? As soon as she said this, Yuan Shi and Tong Tian immediately looked at Laozi. According to Nuwa's logic, there seemed to be nothing wrong. She created the race, and now she wanted to establish a sect to civilize it. It seemed like they really couldn't argue with that.